What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Untold Riches for the Forest Forever, and I'm back with another video. But before I get into today's topic, I just want to say if you're new to our channel, please hit the subscribe button, give us a big thumbs up, and also turn on your notifications because we do post weekly videos. Alright, so let's get started. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about collecting rainwater and setting up a rainwater system, catchment system. This video is inspired by Miss Cheryl's Organic Food Farm. She did a video about it, and I just wanted to make a video about it to show you guys how I do things and things that I do to collect rainwater. So let's get started with that. Here is an example of one of the rainwater system that I get asked a lot about. So this is a 55-gallon barrel. You can get these anywhere. You can buy them. You can Craigslist them, and you'll see people that are selling these. You can find a lot of places that have these. They're very cheap and inexpensive, and I do recommend them because they do come with lid and they're also food grade. So that's a good barrel to use. And then also, if you look down, I also added a spigot into it so that I can just turn it on, connect to a hose, or fill buckets up with it. And it, like I said, it holds 55 gallons of water. In the top of it, as you can see, I put rocks in it. The reason why I put rocks in there because I put holes in the top so when it rains, the water goes down in there. And then, hold on one second, let me pull it back in. If you dig underneath all these rocks, you'll see holes in here where the water goes and fills the bucket. If you look deep down in there, and it's covered with a paper, like a netting, like for different like a screen, like a screen door material. That's the type of material that I put over the holes. This keeps insects and different bugs from getting inside there. Like a lot of people have problems with the mosquitoes and larvae getting into their tanks. So this is what I do. I put the rocks on there, and they go in there, keeps it out, and also the rocks prevent the water filtration, like from like big objects and stuff from the roof and everything like that falling in there. And then here are some what's called rain chains, and the water comes from the gutter and trickles down here and then goes. All right, that's one example. Let's go on, move on to the next one. This rain barrel also has a planter box on the top of it. It's really interesting, really kind of cool. I do plant stuff in here sometimes, and it does work really well. I actually got this for free, so I actually didn't pay anything for this. I found it on the side of the road. Someone was throwing it away, so it was really cool. As you can see, this barrel also has two knobs, and you can it's two spigots, and you just turn it on, turn it off, and it cuts off. All right, so I'm back. So those were some examples of rain barrel catchments. I use barrels, as you can see. I also have at the farm these big square totes that look like this. And it just really depends on what you're really going for. If you're just using the water to collect, um, for to water your garden, then you could do simply what I had already showed you guys. Make sure you put the netting on top. Um, and that will prevent from you having to use chemicals and different other stuff to treat the water to keep the mosquitoes and things like that out, and just to keep the water clean. As you guys saw, I turned the water on and you saw it was crystal clear. It wasn't green, it wasn't no algae in it, no nothing in it. It was pretty clean, and that wasn't even filtered water. That is just because I keep it closed, and I go through these procedures, these methods of making sure that the water doesn't get contaminated. Now, if you're going to be using it to be drinking the water, you might want to go a couple of levels up and actually go through the process of actually filtering the water so that you actually can. So here, what I do is I have those, like I said, 300-gallon totes, the big square totes. And what you can do is when you collect the rainwater in one of them, after it finished raining, what you could do, you could add like a when the water's going in through the top, you could put something like one of these. But this is just an example. This is called like a filter sock. It's for like a fish tank. So because I used to have a really big fish tank. I used to collect a lot of saltwater fish. So I have a lot of stuff that's sitting around that goes to a lot of aquarium stuff. So you can go to any kind of aquarium store, PetSmart, any kind of store that sells fish, and you just ask them, for a filter sock. They come in various sizes. This is just a small one. This is just an example, but they do make very large one, very big one. So it just depends on what level of water collecting are you going to be. If you're going to be doing 300-gallon totes, then I would suggest the larger size sock that they have to do that. And then so let's say this is the downspout for the water collection system. So what you want to do is you want to put the sock over the end. Then when the water comes through and filters, it will make sure that nothing goes in there, and the water will drip out. And you can make it a closed system so that nothing can get inside. So once it fills all the way up and filter it, if you're gonna do the totes, it really doesn't matter if you do the totes or not, but I'm just going to use totes as an example because you can either do the barrels and connect the fitting at the bottom, like how I have my barrels at the bottom. And basically what you would do is just put a skimmer or a water filtration system, any kind, and then you can filter the water out of one tote and then fill it up through the top. So basically, water will come down, go into the tote. Then once it collects at the bottom of the tote, you filter it out with the skimmer, and then allow it to go through the top of the other tote, and then that will be the drinking water. And then you could keep that system closed, and you could cap it once that gets full. So one day it'll rain, you'll collect water in one tote, and you'll skim it and filter it out, all the water out of that tote into the other one, and that'll be a clean water tote. And then you could repeat the process over, or you could just fill that other tote and get it ready when the other tote gets full. So you could do things like that. That's just another example. But like I said, it will solve a lot of problems too, if you make it a closed system, because you don't have to worry about bugs and algae and stuff. And a lot of people recommend, like for mines, I painted them, but for those white totes, it's really good to paint them, especially black, because that will stop the algae and stuff, because the water will turn green. But because mines are dark blue and I painted them on top of that, I don't really have any issues with algae that much. So I would suggest doing that too as well.